Hey, Stoic warriors. They say wolves hunt at dawn because their prey is still drowsy, still vulnerable, still caught between dreams and reality. Your mind knows this ancient truth. That's why your demons always strike hardest in those first moments of consciousness, when your defenses are paper thin and your willpower hasn't yet dressed itself for battle. You know that sensation when you surface from sleep, like rising from deep water. That split second where you don't remember who you are, what burdens you carry, what wars you're fighting. For one pristine moment, you're nobody and nothing, pure potential floating in space. Then memory crashes in like a tidal wave, and suddenly you're drowning again in the same thoughts that murdered your peace yesterday and the day before, and every day stretching back to when you first learned that consciousness could be a prison. Marcus Aurelius understood this drowning. Emperor of Rome, the most powerful human on earth, yet he confessed in his private journals, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work. As a human being, what do I have to complain of if I'm going to do what I was born for, the things I was brought into the world to do?" But you're not an emperor. You're something far more dangerous. You're a soul at war with its own potential, bleeding possibilities with every undisciplined thought that runs wild through your neural pathways, like vandals through an abandoned temple. Every morning you wake up as both the sculptor and the marble, the artist and the resistance, the prison and the key. The Stoics discovered something that modern neuroscience is only now proving. Your morning mind is literally plastic, moldable, waiting to be shaped. Those first 60 minutes after waking determine whether you'll spend your day as a gladiator or a spectator in the arena of your own life. They knew that discipline isn't some military march toward productivity. It's the art of becoming friends with the monster under your bed, teaching it to serve rather than terrorize. What you're about to discover isn't another motivational sermon. These are 5 psychological alchemy tricks that transform mental lead into gold, chaos into symphony, weakness into iron. They work because they don't fight your nature. They weaponize it. They don't suppress your demons. They recruit them as allies. Before we descend into these depths together, I need you to make a declaration. Drop this affirmation in the comments. My mind bows to my will, not the other way around. Like this video now, not later now, because postponing even this simple action is how chaos begins its daily conquest. Subscribe, share with someone who needs this medicine, and whatever happens, don't you dare skip ahead. Each secret builds a wall, and missing even one brick leaves a gap where the darkness seeps through. The morning awaits. Your transformation beckons. Let the ancient secrets awaken. Now, let's begin. Number 1. The shadow conversation. While the world sleeps in their comfortable delusions, you're going to do something that would terrify most people into paralysis. You're going to have a conversation with the version of yourself that you despise, the weak one, the procrastinator, the coward who whispers poison in your ear every morning. Seneca called this practice premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils, but he was being polite. What you're really doing is inviting your worst self to breakfast and staring it down until it blinks first. Every morning, before your feet touch the floor, you're going to ask yourself the question that most people spend their entire lives running from. What is the worst version of me planning to do today? Listen to that voice. Really listen. It's probably saying something like, let's scroll through social media for an hour. Let's eat garbage. Let's avoid that difficult conversation. Let's pretend we're too tired, too busy, too broken to change. This shadow self has been your secret puppeteer, pulling strings from the darkness while you wonder why your days feel like photocopies of photocopies, each one slightly more faded than the last. But here's where the alchemy happens, where you transform from victim to victor. You're going to respond to that voice out loud if you have the courage, with the most powerful words in the Stoic arsenal. I see you, and I choose differently. Not I reject you or I hate you, because what you resist persists. You acknowledge it like acknowledging a storm on the horizon. Then you chart a different course. Epictetus taught that we become what we repeatedly choose, not what we occasionally wish. Every morning, your shadow self is going to offer you the path of least resistance, dressed up as self-care, disguised as being realistic, masquerading as wisdom. It will tell you that discipline is suffering, that comfort is happiness, that tomorrow is better than today for starting anything meaningful. This is the seduction that has kept humanity enslaved since we developed consciousness. The sweet lullaby of later, the siren song of eventually, the toxic comfort of someday. But you're going to look that shadow straight in its hollow eyes and say, I hear your offer. I decline your terms. I choose the harder path because easy has made me soft, and soft has made me miserable. The shadow conversation isn't about defeating darkness. Darkness is immortal. It's about making darkness irrelevant. When you acknowledge your weakest impulses without obeying them, something miraculous happens. They lose their power over you. They become like clouds passing over the sun, temporarily dimming the light, but never extinguishing it. This morning ritual takes 3 minutes. 3 minutes to save the remaining 1,437 minutes of your day from being hijacked by the version of you that you'll regret being tonight. Number 2, the reversed mirror technique. Most people look in the mirror and see their face. You're going to look in the mirror and see your death. Wait, don't close this video. This isn't about morbid obsession. This is about the most liberating practice the Stoics ever conceived. Memento mori. Remember you must die. But we're going to twist it into something even more powerful, something that will shock your nervous system into unprecedented clarity every single morning. Stand before your mirror, but don't look at your reflection the way you usually do, checking for flaws, admiring features, adjusting hair. Look at yourself the way an archaeologist would look at bones in a museum 1,000 years from now. See the skull beneath the skin. See the skeleton that's carrying you through this brief dance called life. Marcus Aurelius did this daily, writing, "Remember that very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." Now, here's the reversal that changes everything. Instead of seeing death as the enemy, see it as your most honest advisor. Ask your mortality this question. If I had only 1,000 mornings left, would I waste this one on anxiety? Would I poison it with resentment? Would I sleepwalk through it in a haze of distraction? Your mortality will always answer the same way. Every morning you waste is a morning you steal from your finite supply. Every hour you spend in mental chaos is an hour you'll beg to have back when the final countdown begins. This isn't meant to frighten you. Fear is just another thief of time. This is meant to electrify you with the raw truth that every successful person knows but rarely speaks. Urgency is the mother of excellence. Comfort is the father of regret. The combination of remembering death while looking at life, your reflection, creates a psychological tension that snaps your mind into laser focus. The reversed mirror technique works because it collapses the greatest lie we tell ourselves. that we have unlimited time to become who we're meant to be. You don't. None of us do. That person in the mirror is temporary, a rental property that you'll have to vacate without notice. The question isn't whether you'll leave, it's whether you'll have truly lived while you were here. Every morning spend 90 seconds with your mortality. Let it strip away the trivial worries that seemed so important when you thought you were immortal. Let it burn through the procrastination that assumes there's always tomorrow. Let it remind you that discipline isn't about restricting your life. It's about honoring the ridiculously brief opportunity you've been given to matter. When you walk away from that mirror, you'll carry an invisible urgency that transforms everything. Suddenly that difficult conversation seems necessary. That dream seems worth the risk. That discipline seems like a privilege, not a punishment. Number 3. The cold verdict protocol. Before the sun judges the earth with its light, you're going to judge yourself with something far more brutal and honest. Cold water. Not the comfortable warm shower you hide in every morning like a womb, postponing your encounter with reality. Pure, merciless cold water that speaks only truth to your nervous system. The Stoics knew something we've forgotten in our temperature-controlled bubbles. Comfort is a liar that whispers sweet poison into your veins. Marcus Aurelius would deliberately expose himself to cold, to hunger, to discomfort, not because he was masochistic, but because he understood that voluntary hardship is the vaccine against involuntary suffering. Every morning, before your mind can mount its defenses, before your excuses can organize their rebellion, you're going to turn the shower to cold for the final 60 seconds. Not lukewarm, not refreshingly cool. Cold enough that your body screams in revolt. Cold enough that every cell in your body votes to quit. This is your daily execution and resurrection. Here's what happens in those 60 seconds that changes everything. Your sympathetic nervous system explodes into action, flooding your body with norepinephrine, dopamine, and epinephrine, the exact cocktail that expensive medications try to replicate. Your mind, that chaotic tyrant that usually runs the show, suddenly has only one job: survive. All that mental chatter, all those anxious loops, all that psychological debris, it vanishes instantly because cold doesn't negotiate with neurosis. But the real magic isn't biological, it's psychological. In those 60 seconds, you prove something to yourself that no motivational speech ever could. You can do hard things by choice. You can override your comfort-seeking programming. You can stand in discomfort and not die. This isn't just a shower. It's a daily referendum on who's in charge, your disciplined will or your comfort-seeking flesh. Seneca wrote, "Every new thing excites the mind, but a mind that seeks truth turns from the new and seeks the old truths." The old truth is this: humans were forged in difficulty, not comfort. We're the descendants of people who survived ice ages, predators, famines, plagues. That genetic legacy of resilience is still in you, waiting to be activated. Cold water is the activation code. When you step out of that cold verdict, something profound happens. The rest of your day's challenges suddenly seem negotiable. That difficult phone call? At least it's not cold water. That workout you've been avoiding? Your body is already primed for discomfort. That discipline you've been postponing? You've already proven you can choose suffering over comfort. The cold verdict protocol isn't about punishing yourself. It's about proving to yourself every single morning that you're the type of person who does hard things first, who eats difficulty for breakfast, who doesn't need comfort to feel complete. It's about starting each day with a victory over your weakest impulses. Number 4. The Silence Throne Ritual. In a world that profits from your distraction, that feeds on your mental chaos like vampires feed on blood, you're going to commit the ultimate act of rebellion. You're going to sit in absolute silence for 5 minutes and crown yourself king of your own consciousness. No guided meditation, no soothing music, no app telling you how to breathe. Just you, alone with the monster you've been running from your entire life, your undisciplined mind in its raw, unfiltered state. Epictetus called this testing your impressions, but what you're really doing is far more radical. You're conducting a hostile takeover of your own mental corporation. Sit somewhere, anywhere, but sit like you mean it, spine straight, like you're testifying in the court of your own potential. Close your eyes and watch the circus begin. Thoughts will assault you like barbarians at the gates. Anxieties will swarm like locusts. Your mind will throw every distraction it has at you. Itches that suddenly need scratching, urgent tasks that suddenly need doing, songs that suddenly need humming. This is where 99% of people break. They can't handle 5 minutes alone with themselves without entertainment, without distraction, without the narcotic of constant stimulation. They'd rather scroll through strangers' lives than sit with their own existence. But you're going to sit there like Marcus Aurelius sat with the weight of an empire on his shoulders, knowing that the only empire that truly matters is the space between your ears. Here's the ancient secret. You don't fight the thoughts. Fighting thoughts is like fighting water. The harder you push, the more it splashes back. Instead, you become the mountain that thoughts flow around. You become the sky that watches clouds pass without becoming the weather. Each thought that arises, you observe like a scientist observing bacteria under a microscope. Curious but unattached, interested but not invested. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength, Marcus Aurelius wrote, while plague ravaged his empire and enemies pressed at every border. He found peace not by escaping chaos, but by becoming the eye of his own storm. In those 5 minutes of silence, you're training for every mental battle you'll face that day. Every time you return your attention to silence after it's been kidnapped by thought, you're doing a mental push-up. Every time you resist the urge to check your phone, to move, to escape, you're forging neural pathways of discipline that will serve you in every decision you make. The Silence Throne Ritual isn't meditation, it's sovereignty practice. You're teaching your mind that you're the monarch here, not the mad parliament of thoughts that usually rules by chaos. You're proving that you can be alone with yourself without entertainment, without validation, without the constant IV drip of dopamine that modern life has made mandatory. When you open your eyes after those 5 minutes, you'll see the world differently. Colors will be sharper, sounds will be clearer. You'll have remembered something crucial. Silence isn't empty, it's pregnant with possibility. Number 5. The Morning War Declaration. While others write gratitude lists and set intentions with the gentle touch of a feather, you're going to declare war. Not on the world, not on others, but on the only enemy that has ever truly defeated you, your undisciplined past self, who keeps trying to resurrect every morning like a zombie that refuses to stay buried. Take a piece of paper. Not your phone, not your laptop, paper, the kind that can't be deleted when you get uncomfortable with your own truth. Right at the top, today's terms of victory. Below that, you're going to write 3 non-negotiable battles you will win before the sun sets. Not goals, not wishes, not hopes. Battles, wars, conquests. Seneca wrote letters to himself every morning. Not sweet affirmations, but battle plans. Every night before going to sleep, we must ask ourselves, what weakness have I overcome today? What virtue have I acquired? But he started each morning knowing which weaknesses he would target, like a general studying maps before dawn raid. Your 3 battles must hurt to write. If they don't make you slightly nauseous with fear, they're not battles, they're errands. Make sales call to the client who intimidates me. Have the conversation with my partner I've been avoiding for months. Submit the proposal that could change everything or humiliate me completely. These are battles. Everything else is just movement disguised as progress. Here's why this works when everything else fails. Your brain is wired for war, not peace. Thousands of years of evolution didn't prepare you for comfort. They prepared you for conflict, challenge, conquest. When you frame your day as a battle, your entire neurochemistry shifts. Testosterone rises. Cortisol sharpens instead of paralyzes. Your prefrontal cortex starts strategic planning instead of anxious ruminating. The morning war declaration transforms you from a passenger to a warrior. You're no longer hoping the day will be kind to you. You're deciding what you'll conquer regardless of what the day throws at you. You're not asking for permission to succeed. You're announcing your intentions to the universe and daring it to stop you. But here's the crucial part most people miss. You must revisit this declaration at night, not to judge yourself harshly if you failed, but to honor the warrior who tried. Even Marcus Aurelius lost battles. The difference between him and history's forgotten masses wasn't that he always won. It's that he showed up to fight every single morning until victory became inevitable. Write your 3 battles. Sign your name like it's a blood oath. Because in a way, it is. You're signing away your right to be comfortable, mediocre, or unconscious for one more day. These 5 morning secrets aren't just rituals. They're a revolution against everything that wants you weak, distracted, and domesticated. The shadow conversation unmasks your saboteur. The reversed mirror murders your illusion of unlimited time. The cold verdict baptizes you in discomfort. The silence throne crowns you sovereign of your consciousness. The morning war declaration transforms you from civilian to warrior. Tomorrow morning, when consciousness first flickers and your demons prepare their daily assault, you'll be ready. Not because you're stronger than them, you're not, but because you've finally learned the secret the Stoics knew. Discipline isn't about winning every battle. It's about showing up to fight, regardless of yesterday's defeats. Your mind has been a tyrant long enough. Tomorrow morning, the revolution begins. Not with motivation, not with inspiration, but with cold, calculated, ancient practices that have outlived empires because they work. They work because they don't require you to be special. They only require you to choose discipline over chaos, one morning at a time, until discipline becomes your default setting. Like this video now. Share it with someone fighting their own morning demons. Subscribe if you're ready for more ancient weapons against modern chaos. Comment below with your morning declaration of war. The dawn awaits, warrior. Rise and conquer.
Every morning you rise. Remember that life has given you yet another chance to confront yourself. For the greatest battlefield is not the world outside, but the unobserved world within your own mind. And Marcus Aurelius taught that the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. So begin by cleansing the mind of yesterday's noise, the fears you borrowed from others, the anxieties you rehearsed in your loneliness, and the illusions that whispered false stories into your ears. Because the mind, if left unattended, becomes a tyrant that enslaves you with your own imagination. But if governed with discipline, it becomes the strongest ally you will ever possess, shaping your perception, sharpening your focus, and giving you sovereignty over your inner world. Do not allow your first thoughts of the day to be shaped by distraction or doubt, but by intention, because the direction of the morning becomes the direction of the day, and the direction of the day becomes the direction of your life. So remind yourself that obstacles are nothing but raw material for growth. Inconveniences are training sessions for your patience, and every difficulty you encounter is the universe chiseling you into a stronger, clearer, more disciplined version of yourself. And when you feel resistance, when the desire for comfort tries to pull you back into the softness of your bed or the weakness of your old habits, confront it with courage. For the body obeys the command of the mind, and the mind obeys the command of your principles. So build principles that do not bend when you are tired, do not break when you are stressed, and do not vanish when life becomes heavy. Tell yourself that you were not born for anxiety or laziness or fear, but for resilience, clarity, purpose, and virtue. And understand that every moment you allow your emotions to rule you, you hand your freedom to the world. Reclaim it by observing your thoughts like a calm witness, unmoved by their noise, unshaken by their urgency. For most thoughts are nothing but shadows, fading as soon as the light of awareness touches them. Train your mind to pause before reacting, to breathe before speaking, to think before judging, because the space between stimulus and response is where your entire destiny is shaped. And the person who controls that space controls their life. Remember that discipline is not punishment but liberation, the quiet victory over the self that once ruled you. And the reason Marcus Aurelius wrote to himself every night was because he understood that the mind drifts toward chaos, if not guided daily. So guide your mind now. Remind it that your time is limited, your breath is finite, and every moment wasted in distraction or complaint is a moment stolen from the person you could become. Let this morning be a ritual of strength, a returning to your highest self, a renewal of your commitment to live with honor, clarity, focus, and courage. See your fears as passing clouds,